We can give it a second.
Periscope. Oh, yeah, because Twitter's down.
Twitter's down, okay. But looks like we're live on the other platforms.
Yeah, we are live. So, Ryan, welcome everyone to yet another exciting episode of
Bamboozled.
Where we tell you all about how you've been bamboozled, lied to, tricked by the government and by a media who does not have your best interest in mind. Welcome. We've got an exciting show tonight. Let's get going. Ryan, why don't you take care of your housekeeping things?
Sounds good, Jason. Thank you very much. So glad that everybody is joining us again tonight. We have another amazing show lined up on Bamboozled tonight. Just like last week, we want to make it known again that we need your help in order to get this message out. So Jason and I both have been shut down off of Facebook. Our personal accounts totally erased, all of our business and our American Patriot Council page gone. So we really need your help. And last week, you guys came through, you shared this out to all your different social networks, you shared this out to all of your different places that you reach people, and you helped us to draw a really big audience. So thank you. If you could do that again this week, we need your help. We need your help because the world needs to hear this message. So share us out, guys, and let's reach a ton of people. We have exciting things happening here at the American Patriot Council coming next week, Saturday on October 24th, the nationwide Freedom March. Jason, I am super excited about this because we have over 50 locations across 26 states, and the events are coming together big. We're starting to get the feedback as we reconnect with leaders and see where they're at in progress for their events and how things are going. Some of these, right, Jason, you've been talking to them as well, have really big people, a really big audience that's going to be showing up, a large number of patriots coming. And it's really encouraging to see these seeds that have been planted at these locations and the vision cast and the events just really growing. I think would you say, Jason, one location has like 5,000 people estimated coming?
Yeah, and every time we've estimated, we've always been more, not less than the estimated amount. We're hearing 5,000 here, 2,600 here. One place said they expect 3,000 cars. I think that the nation's going to be on fire. Not literally, we're not liberals here, but in a proverbial sense, the nation is going to be on fire for freedom.
Right, that's right. For sure. So we're super excited about that. If you have not heard yet about the Nationwide Freedom March, October 24th at 3 p.m. Eastern, noon Pacific, same time, all across the country. We're going to be standing together, united as patriots. If you go to our website, Jason, do we have that? Maybe we can throw that on the banner at the bottom real quick. AmericanPatriotCouncil.org. And there's a button there that says Freedom March, and you can go right onto the Freedom March and see the different locations all around the nation. We are coast to coast. We are in 26 states, over 50 locations, and it is going to be incredible. So plan on joining us next week. You are absolutely going to love it. So we have an amazing show lined up tonight. Jason, what do we got next that we'd like to talk about here?
Oh, man. Real quick, before we move on, I've got something really cool for you. Before we do that, I just want to point out, thank you for all your donations. Thank you for continuing to share the website, to share the links, to share the shows, to help us continue. Thank you, Jane, for all your support. I see you jump right on. I know some other people are watching. Say hello in the comments. Hey, Carrie, good to hear from you. I talked to Carrie yesterday. Carrie has an awesome event going in Kansas. So awesome that the governor's pissed off at her. So that's a good job, Carrie.
Good job, Carrie. Yeah.
Yeah, we all lost our accounts too, unfortunately, but fortunately, because we're all going to move on and we're all going to do some really cool stuff together. Right now, I want to start our next segment. I'm going to share a screen with you, okay? And you got to bear with me here a second. I got to shut my audio off when I start this video or it'll echo really bad. So check this out. I'm going to share my screen and then shut my mic off.
We're going to play this little video here, guys. Check it out.
Let's take a sad walk through a once beautiful and great American city. A place where families used to be proud to live in their beautiful homes that now lies in ruin. There are many cities like Detroit across America that have been systematically destroyed. Detroit once had a population of 1.8 million people, and now it's below 700,000. Since 1987, the left, the liberals, the radicals have been in charge of this city. Since 1987, Detroit has been under the control of Democrats. A place that had a booming economy with industry and small businesses everywhere now lies dormant with an unemployment rate of nearly 50%. We can no longer tolerate our cities looking like this. We can no longer tolerate America in decline. We can no longer tolerate this. We can no longer tolerate leftism. We can no longer tolerate Democrats in America.
So that's just one city, guys. And literally it took me 15 minutes to get that footage. If you are from Detroit, if you've been to Detroit recently, you know that it doesn't take you very long to find a neighborhood like that one. It is just everywhere. It is just very, very saddening, very, very sickening. And it is the culmination of what happens when we allow leftism, when we allow this communist think, this Democrat think in our country. That's what happens. Ryan, what did you think as you saw that video? I know what it felt like to walk past that car that was obviously stolen, smashed, and left in the street. What did you think as you watched that?
Yeah, it's sad just to know that's in our home country and our home state. And literally from where you live, I mean, you're 20 minutes south or so. And just to know the fact of who's running that city and what it looks like and the perpetuation of that mindset being voted into office, right? And you mentioned that's just one city across America. There's many cities across America. And I know we're going to take a look at a couple of other places and some ideas that have been kind of forced into these communities for decades and kind of what the outcome of that is and where America will end up if we continue. I know in the video you said, we can no longer tolerate leftism. I mean, leftism is the destruction that you see in these places, right? The control of the few over the many. And I'm just very saddened by that. But you know what? It's not too late for us patriots that love America and love the freedoms and the unalienable rights our Constitution grants us, and we get to stand for that now and later and for the next generation.
Yeah, and so with that, one of the things that was really striking to me a few years back is, as a child, we used to come to Detroit. I grew up over on the same side of the state as you did, and we used to come over here for ball games, or we would come over here to do this or that, or go to the zoo. Used to be a really big destination, and all of a sudden I come back and I see this place, and it's unrecognizable. What was once beautiful brick, almost like mini mansion homes that were sprawling through the part of the city I was in, now it's like either a field where the trees have actually grown over the houses. I saw one, I couldn't get a good video of it, but I saw one, the roof was actually all that was left. It was laying on its side, like on the ground, back in a wooded area that probably been abandoned for 20 years. And this is a city that used to be like the symbol of American industrialism. And when you think about that symbol being destroyed in the way that it has, it really makes you wonder what is really going on with these people that are in charge.
For here, bamboozled them, right?
Yeah.
They thought that they were looking out for their best interest, right? Vote me into office. I got your best interest in mind. I got the best interest in mind of the city.
Ryan, before we move into, we've got a lot more, and I'm going to share my screen real quick. I just you asked who was in charge of this city, and I typed it in, and here's who we got. Mike Dugan right now is the mayor of Detroit. And we got like a real all-star cast down here. You guys know who Kwame Kilpatrick was. He was a gangster who's a senator's son, by the way. And he got 28 years in prison when he finally got caught stealing from the city of Detroit. Democrat. You had Coleman Young. You had all of these. Here's a nice picture of Gretchen Whitmer. She's like the ringleader of all the Michigan communists and whatnot that are going on. So, I mean, you just get a view of that. We've got a special guest tonight, right, Ryan? And I thought you'd want to introduce her, and she could talk about some experience also that I think you will find really, really interesting. Make sure you guys, as our special guest comes on, share this out. Put the link on your Facebook if you still have one. Share it to Twitter if they'll let you tweet. They took me off of there today too. But share it where you can. Help us get the audience up on YouTube. Ryan?
Yeah. All right. In this country, I think there's many of us that are awake to what maybe the left's plan is, what our country is going to look like if we allow this leftism to continue to perpetuate, right? It's a plague, really, of countries, and it always has been, right? Throughout history, this form of government, this communism, has always been a plague to the people, and we see many of us, right, the patriots that understand what that looks like, and the many tricks that they do to force this way of government on people. See it happening in America, and we know that is the trick that many of these Democrats are up to. And so, with talking across the nation to many different patriots and having these conversations of, why we love this country, what we see currently happening in this country, I came across someone the other day. It was connected to me, and we just got to chatting, and she was sharing some of her story with us. So we're going to bring her on right now. This is Gayla Lee, and she was sharing with me that she was born in Russia, and she experienced a lot of things in Russia. Is that correct? That's, I'm going to let you share your story here, but just kind of prefacing a little bit. And she shared some things that really resonated with me. And so I said, will you please come on Bamboozled and talk to us about your story? So thank you so much for joining. We'd like to give you a few minutes just to kind of share some of the things that you told me, and just kind of whatever's on your mind here.
Well, thank you for having me. Yeah, my story is not that fun. I grew up in Russia, and it was not Russia back then. It was USSR. So it was it was a social country. I didn't know that growing up. I didn't know better, but now looking back, I remember how it was, how we've been treated, how government was in our life every step all along. And what's going on right now in our country, American, I'm Russian American, and I've been here for 13 years. It reminds me absolutely, totally, I can say my childhood. That's how I grew up. As soon as it started here, as soon as the government started to put like safety precautions on us, I knew right away it's not for our safety. It's just for control.
What was it like? What are the similarities that you see as growing up in the USSR and what you're seeing happening in the USA right now? What are some of the similarities and cautionary tales you could tell us?
The same is the government is getting into your life and trying to control, and you have to obey whatever you want to or not. And I don't want to.
Yeah, we don't want to.
Besides good rules, yeah, there are good rules and laws. Yes, you do obey, but something like what put on you by fear, make you fear, no, that's not. That's just a total control.
I know that's one thing you mentioned the other day is how the fear was used, and we see that obviously a big resemblance of that, especially here in Michigan with Gretchen Whitmer and her little doctor minion always standing up and want to perpetuate the fear of how bad it is and the big bad COVID monsters coming to get you. So, is there any examples that you can kind of think of that, you know, maybe it wasn't pandemic related, but in Russia that they use those same tactics or whatever to control the people? Can you think of any examples you can share?
Definitely. You couldn't be an individual in Russia. You had to be like everybody had to be the same. You couldn't say anything. If you say something like a truth, you'll be gone. You'll just disappear.
Okay.
By gone, I mean somebody will hunt you down and take you away, and you will just disappear like quietly. Nobody will find you. So now I understand the media was, it was a propaganda. Now I see. I don't remember a lot because I was a kid, a teenager at these years. But it never felt good to me by being controlled, not to express my individuality, put down, be like everybody, not having your voice.
See, be like everybody. I can relate to that because for years, even as a kid in school, I remember how they were trying to put us in a box.
Yeah.
You know, they were trying to make us all the same. Punch a clock, show up at the same time, stand in line, don't get out of line, stay in line, sit at the desk we tell you to sit at, do what we say you're going to do when you're going to do it, learn how to follow instruction to the point of every part of your life is institutionalized. And those were some things I noticed as a kid. And now as an adult, I watch how much I thought that was oppressive. And now we watch how suddenly children are supposed to wear a mask at school. A cousin sent me a picture of the school that they sent, that the kids went back to on Monday, and I was appalled. It was the desks had to be like 7 or 8 feet apart, and the kids had like plexiglass all the way around them. They all got masks on, and the teacher showed them how to play a card game. but they only learned how to do it so they could go home and play it with their family because they weren't allowed to interact with each other at the school. So nobody got to actually play the game. They just got to watch the teacher show them how to play the game and then go home and play it with their families. It's terribly saddening. And I have a media clip I want to share with you and with the audience and see if this strikes kind of a chord with you, Gala, because this to me is this is very, very telling. Some of you might have seen Nancy Pelosi have her meltdown on actually one of her good buddies on CNN the other day. And I'm going to show you a short clip of it. I also have the long clip. We'll get into some of that here in a few minutes. But this is the short clip. And I'm going to show you with audio here.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's see what happens because every day is critically, critically important. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you for your sensitivity to our constituents' needs.
I am sensitive to them because I see them on the street begging for food, begging for money. Madam Speaker, thank you so much.
Have you fed them? We feed them. We feed them.
We'll continue this conversation down the road for sure.
Did you see? We feed them.
Mm-hmm.
We feed them. That is the most telling thing I have ever seen Nancy Pelosi say to date. And she's pretty bad, but that was extremely telling to me. Does that sound like communism, government officials from communism to you, Gala?
Yeah, we feed them. It means we feed you, but we control you because we feed you. Yeah, so you depend on us, and that's how exactly it was in Russia. I want to bring Cardi B in this when she was interviewing Vice President Biden. Yeah, and she wanted free education, and she wants free medicine. Well, let me tell you, yes. We had free medicine and we had a free education. Good. Oh, hello.
Hi.
Hi.
Hey,
yeah. On one hand, it's good, right? You don't have to pay for it. It's free to you. But do you have a chance what school you go? No. Do you have a chance what hospital you go? No. What doctor you want to see? No, you don't have this chance. You don't have this option. You go to there where they send you. So it is not free, or it's free, but it comes with cost.
I was just, as you were saying that, I was thinking, well, they call it free, right? But it's not free, because what you see, and so I want to like really quickly break down the difference. Communism is, and I think you can, if I misspeak, correct me, but communism treats the people like cattle, right? The people produce for the government, and that is all their objective with the people is. The government only cares about the people being able to produce whatever they have to produce. So if your job is assigned as a factory worker, you go to work at the factory, and then the government gets the profits from that factory and uses them to dole out food and medical care as it sees fit. Is that kind of the premise behind it?
It is totally correct. That's.
So here's the price. I'm going to share my screen now because I want to show you the actual. You mentioned a cost, and so I'm going to just share. And I don't need audio for any of these, but let's take a look at communist Havana, Cuba. This is Havana, Cuba. This is a communist country. Now I want to show you a communist country. This communist country is called Detroit. Havana, Cuba, Detroit.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Havana, Cuba, Detroit. Anybody see any similarities there? Just let me know if you see something similar. Now, let's move on. Let's see. Is Detroit the only place? Well, here's China. Here we have where people live in communist China. Now let's take a look. Now I want to warn you, this next city hasn't gotten quite as, it doesn't quite look like this, but this is a housing project in Chicago's Cabrini Greens.
Okay.
Stack people on top of each other in a tiny room, as many as you can, because they need to get up and do what you need them to do in the morning. I believe in Chicago, they don't need them to actually produce anything besides chaos, crime, murder, and destruction that will make people beg for them to come in and help them in this situation. Let's move on. Here is Minneapolis, Minnesota.
Oh my God.
This is Minnesota. This is America, and you can tell it's recent because criminals didn't start wearing masks. Oh, wait, criminals have always worn masks.
Oh.
Anyway, they got their masks on. And so let's go look at Nancy Pelosi's district here. This is San Francisco.
This is where she feeds them. She's feeding them.
See,
They're eating good in that little pop-up tent.
I bet you that they do eat good right there in those tents and
laying next to a pile of feces and a bowl full of needles.
Yes.
Good job, Nancy Pelosi.
I was in California. I was in San Francisco 20-something years ago. I didn't see that.
Now, for those of you who are sensitive, Ryan. I want to let you guys know too. Ryan has a fan club. Ryan has a really involved fan club in his hometown. Now, if you're sensitive, I don't want you to look at this next part because this is really, really bad. It's hard to see. Okay. For those of you who have trouble looking at sensitive issues, again, just turn away. This is what it looks like when Ryan is on the planning commission in Allendale, Michigan.
Oh, the horror.
Right. This is what the green hairs are screaming to get rid of, is people that help create an environment like this for you. This is the environment this is what my neighborhood looks like, give or take. And the difference is that we are not counting on the government to provide us with this.
Mm-hmm.
We're counting on ourselves to come up with this. You see what I mean? I'm not looking. What's that?
Every time, that's the answer. The people are smart enough to do it. The people take individualism into their own hands. They get the opportunity to be creative and to create and to make something of their life because they put their own time, effort, and energy into it, right? You have
out there. It takes leadership that believes what Ryan just said for people to get to this point in their life. You have to have leadership that goes, hey, I trust you. Go run your life. I trust you. Go out there and be a good human being and follow the law, follow the order, but just do a great job. And we know you can because you're an American and Americans can accomplish anything they want. And that kind of leadership will lead to places that look like Allendale, Michigan. The kind of leadership that says, you need me. You need me to feed you. You need me to create jobs for you. You need me to put a house up in the air for you. You need me to provide you with a place to live and food to eat. You need me to rile you up so you'll go burn the town down and make it look like you need me even more than you did before you burned the town down. You need me to make sure that somebody throws needles out in the street in the morning so you can shoot up and go back in your tent. You don't need me. You don't need me to create a life for yourself.
Jason, let me tell you something. By this comparison, it just oh my God, it just banged on me. All cities in Russia, they build like it's like downtown in America, right? So in Russia, there is no housing areas. The cities, it's like the whole downtown all over.
Oh, wow.
I actually liked it. I didn't understand it. I just got it. Why? Again, for what reason? To be on the top of each other.
Mm-hmm.
No personal property.
If everyone has the same thing, and it kind of, I guess it teaches you to not want to strive for anything because
you have to be the same.
Different.
You can't stick up.
You were totally. Oh.
Oh my God. And I liked it. I actually liked it, like to live in downtown, but there is absolutely different reason for that.
Yeah, well, and this is the thing. The Russian people, what's so amazing is look at the Kremlin. Look at some of the design and I've never been, but I've seen pictures and I know that it's amazing. And I know that those people have the same talent that American people have. If you just set them free to go and build what American people build, they will create awesome European things that, I'm in awe of some of those downtown areas that you talk about. If they're nice and they're well kept, it's just when they do this to it that really is sad. Can you imagine how many people worked at whatever this was at one time or another?
You don't have it up on the screen.
I'm sorry. I just realized that. Can you imagine though, how many people worked at this place at one time?
Walk across the little skywalk there.
Look how big that is. That is probably 20, I don't know, thousands of families ate and lived a good life and had the American dream well on its way because of whatever this place used to be. And I don't know, I just pulled it up online as an example of Detroit, and it's just so saddening to me to see that type of thing happen. And this is kind of the point of the show tonight. For those of you that are watching, we'd love to hear what you've got to think of, what you think about this, what you've got to say as well. But it's like this. The left wants you to need them. We feed you. You get what we give you, right? We dole it out the way that we see fit. We take care of you. We have these Senate meetings. We have this parliament, whatever you want to call it. And then we come out and we put you where we want you and you do what you're told.
Sounds good. It sounds good free. Like everything free. It just sounds good.
But here's the example Ryan and I were talking about earlier. I think, Ryan, you'll remember this. We were talking about what it must be like to live on welfare. Because if you live on welfare, I don't know how much money you get, but I know it's like barely enough to make a little less than you need to make your monthly rent, and a little less food than you should have to feed your family, and a little less than what you need. And then you have to hustle or struggle for that last $20 every week to make ends meet, right?
Perspective on
it. And they're keeping you alive. They are not allowing you to thrive. It's you can survive or you can thrive. Those are your options. You can have the left and they'll keep you alive and there's no risk. You'll live. You'll live and that's it. Or
you have a pulse at least, right? You'll walk around like a zombie every day.
Right. Or you'll have a pulse. You will survive. But what was life designed for? I am so saddened by what happens in the cities. I've met people from Detroit who have never crossed 8 Mile. Like they've literally never left the city of Detroit in their entire lives. Adults. Yes, bamboozled. Adults. That, there is a beautiful country to go travel. If you're in your car, Ryan took a trip around the country, 2 years ago, a year ago, and traveled the country with his family in an RV, and it is gorgeous. And that is life. That is living. That is not surviving. That is thriving. It is thriving to take your family to go see the mountains in Tennessee for a week. It is thriving to go boating or skiing or swimming or do things that with your family, to have a big Christmas and eat like a pig because everybody's coming together. And those are the things that life is about. Life is not about how am I going to make it to tomorrow? How can I numb my reality? What kind of drug can I take today to numb my reality? By the way, I believe they're dumping those drugs onto the streets as fast as they can get them out there in the ghettos to keep people in that scenario.
I got an interesting perspective, because everybody knows I'm from Flint, and there's a I was thinking about our last episode, how we were talking about the city and the concept of the inner city. You know, they created the concept of an inner city. There was no such thing as an inner city, just like there was no such thing as social distancing or having to stay 6 feet apart or any of this other crap. It's
Right.
propaganda. It gets into your subconscious. We were just at Big Lots, and you know the music's already crap, and I don't really care about that. But I was in there to get groceries, and then every now and then you hear, "Oh well, make sure you're social distancing. Make sure you got your face covered, just like our people here. Do your part." I'm not gonna do my freaking part. I was on the phone earlier, because basically we've been mask free. That's what we do. Aside from me going into a gun range, which was kind of weird. I had to cover my face to go in there for 5 minutes to see if I could buy a gun or not, but whatever. And then, so basically that was it. And as far as the conditioning, that's where you get like the welfare system. That's the whole point in it. It's a psychological operation. It's a psyop. It's like, you go, hey, you people look this, you know, they make sure you don't have enough outlets, enough resources, enough brain cells left. That's why you're surrounded by people who have the same thing that you have. And then if someone does have something better, you're trained to like go rip them off, because coming up and getting out of the hood or the inner city or whatever. And I live this every day, people. Like I got a perspective most people have no clue about. It's a trip, because they say, well, how did you get in this situation? How did you need to do this? Well, I had a child and this is what happened. And I was so brainwashed. I kind of thought I needed some help. Then you have some more children, and the help that you really need is mental help, and you never get it because you don't see the people. You don't see like the entrepreneurs and the successful people and the people. You don't see enough people that came out of that scenario, that came out of these neighborhoods. They kind of either don't want to do anything for any of, you know, us that are from that type of area, or they forget, but how can you blame them when you had such a crappy time? If you grew up in that type of area or that environment, why would you want to be reminded of that? And so you see people and you go, okay, well, you know, we can all do better. And it is America. And I think it's still free, despite some of the news that I'm hearing and some of the arguments and things that I keep encountering in my everyday life, which are breaking me down so bad. I mean, when I said I was crying last week, I cried earlier today, because how much can I deal with? I'm doing what I can to not be in the system. And when you talk about the system, there's a child care system, there's a food stamp system, there's an insurance system, there's all these little systems. And it's like playing
to keep you in a system.
Yeah, it's like a Rubik's Cube. Like you have to take this sticker off to get this to match. If you make like $5 extra, then this is gone. And then you have to figure this out. Or if this gets cut off, then it costs this much to do this. And then that's taken from that. And then where did that go? And then what about these places? And this whole mask thing, like there were different programs. I was studying business. I was studying all types of stuff because that's what I do. And that's why people don't even think I'm from the area I'm from. They think I'm from New York or somewhere. And when the whole scamdemic happened, it just shut that down. It shut this down. Like I was going to start this business. I have all this training. I've been studying horticulture forever. So I was going to launch my own organic horticulture firm, and I'm studying. And then it's like, oh, here's the slamdemic. We're just slam down everything that you were going to do. Oh, you got to sit around your house. I didn't sit around the house. I work with plants. We've been outside like the whole time. So there's a lot going on.
You said something super interesting in that same interview with Nancy Pelosi earlier, that you saw that little clip a few minutes ago. In that same interview, she literally said, people need childcare because their kids can't go to school. But if the pandemic is keeping them from going to school,
yep.
Thank you, Ryan.
Bamboozled.
Yeah.
They're funny. They're just funny. They to the point. It's just hilarious what they do in whatever way they want to get it. Anyway, right now it's
funny, but it's not funny. I mean, look at the ticker at the bottom of the screen. You know, there wasn't anything called social distancing less than 9 months ago. We could have had a baby in the amount of time it took them to get from people hugging and shaking hands to nobody shakes hands anymore. Nobody can see anybody smile anymore. And you can't come within 6 feet of each other. And more than half of the country is listening to them.
Yep.
long does it really take to devolve into communism if they can move at that pace?
Again, it's all a mental control. It's to everybody be the same and take your individuality out of you.
And they punish you when you stand
Yeah,
up.
of course, because you want to be somebody. You want to stand up for yourself. No, they want to put you in a box. They want to fear you. You earlier, Jason, mentioned the plexiglass.
Oh,
So plexiglass is just exactly how I grew up, with plexiglass everywhere, in every store. It was a plexiglass. It was no pandemic. It was no pandemic, no virus, no Chinese virus. It was to divide you.
I'm glad you said that because, and that's exactly, again, back to this inner city mentality. I don't shop in, there's certain stores, and that's exactly what it is. And they're owned by certain people that get discounts. They own a store long enough, they get to bring their families to this country. I'm not trying to call people out, but I'm calling people out. That's exactly what that is. There's that division. Here the business owner is, and here you are. You're the fool. You're the consumer that comes in here every night, every other night, buying whatever it is that you need. And these people are getting paid hand over fist, and they can give a damn about you.
Mm-hmm. And now the shop owners mad at you because you walk in and you don't wear a mask, so they can deny you business, what is absolutely against the law. But they have this power, and they use this power against you. And that's how it was in Russia. You have no rights whatsoever there. Customer service, forget it.
Wow.
You don't like anything, walk away. I was blown away coming here in America and see how customer service works. I can return it.
Wow.
I can even wear it and return it. Really?
Right. How long have you been here?
13 years.
Okay.
Yeah. But in the beginning, I couldn't understand how I can do such a little things would actually just a normal behavior in a human world. Like I was working at a restaurant, and the cook, I was a waitress, and the cook, it was slow day. The cook came out to the restaurant and just sat with us, and we were watching like TV because it was nobody in the restaurant, no customers. And I look at him like, did he just dare walk out and sit and just relax and do nothing? Like just, we have no business, so.
Right.
You cannot do that in Russia. You couldn't.
So I think this is really important. So there's a lot of people on the live stream here, and just want to reiterate again, help us to get this message out by sharing this on your Facebooks, on your Twitters, other places. Tag somebody that might want to watch this. It's important that this message continues to get out because, as you mentioned, moving here 30 years ago, and those little things, like you said that I'm able to return something I buy, like that was a foreign thing to you. Like the things that in this country we have just taken for granted.
You do,
right? You don't even
know difference.
If you want to complain about something, you just complain about it. You just start blah 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 blah. But you can, and
you're right, and you're gonna be right.
Right.
And Gala said that if you did that as a child in Russia, you would disappear.
Oh my God.
If you started
if you say something about government or your president, and somebody hear you and snitch on you, say bye. Yeah, people were afraid to say something.
And so in this country here, okay, we're starting to see things right now that comes from the left. Some of those persecutions that are happening, right?
For example, Facebook, Twitter.
Right?
Yeah, look at that. We got snatched up, if you will.
They got me last Thursday.
There you go.
We got electronically snatched up, gone, And in Facebook, I actually have it recorded on here, right? It's on an external hard drive offsite for anybody that's listening and wants to know. And we have on there recorded the whole video for all of this, is that they told me that my account was permanently deleted and they have no records of it. So just like the people you're talking about in Russia that get permanently deleted and they're gone, right? That's it. All you did was speak out against the president or whatever, right? That's happening now intellectually on our platform.
Yeah, don't stretch that. Don't let that be like Ryan's over exaggerating. That's what they want you to do, is to think, oh, it's not a big deal, I'll put a mask on. Oh, it's not a big deal, they're getting rid of some people that talk too much on Facebook. Or, Jason had some pretty harsh opinions. I don't think he should, it's not a big deal, he got deleted because it's his own fault. No, that is our First Amendment right that got taken away, right? And it's not that far of a cry for them to just start deleting people. Bill and Mike, no. Bill and Mike, I'll say it again, Bill and Mike Noah got deleted.
Wow.
You know what I mean? They don't like what they're up to, or they want to try and intimidate another group of people. They'll go and arrest some people, right? And use their arresting powers to actually intimidate folks to keep them from doing what they want them to do. Now, I want to show you guys that I got a ticker at the bottom of the screen, and I don't mean to cut people off, but we've got about 10 minutes of the show left, and I want you to understand where we're going with the election, because this is dangerous. I've spent the last 2 days putting a lot of time into watching, and unfortunately, I don't have a lot of clips for you guys. I've got a couple things I can play, but I've been watching the confirmation hearings that are going on with the Supreme Court. And literally what we're seeing, I'm going to play a little clip for you guys just so you can kind of get a glimpse into what this is like. And I don't even know which part she's going to talk about or what, but I'm going to give you just a
We need volume, Jason. Yeah, for some reason we didn't have the sound on it.
I was talking to the manager. I called and I talked to the head manager at the Big Lots I went to.
No one has elicited from me any commitment in a case or even brought up a commitment in the case. I am 100% committed to judicial independence from political pressure. So whatever people's, party platforms may be or campaign promises may be, the reason why judges have life tenure is to insulate them from those pressures. So I take my oath seriously to follow the law. And, I have not pre-committed, nor would I pre-commit to decide a case any particular way.
Okay. And I think this life tenure, this idea that you have, just for everyone out there, a job for life, makes this even more important for us to consider where you might be. And I know you have not said how you would rule on this case that's coming up right after the election, where the president had said it would be a big win if the Supreme Court strikes down the law.
I want to just begin by saying, perhaps not surprisingly to you, that I was really disappointed by your responses to a number of my colleagues, most recently to Senator Coons, on the issue of whether you would participate in the decision involving the upcoming election, and if you are confirmed.
You gotta hit your volume back, Jason.
That's what I wanted you to see. Every single Democrat that interviewed, who I believe, after watching, I'm super impressed. She's going to make a fine Supreme Court justice. But every Democrat that interviewed her brought this up. You won't answer us. How will you rule if Trump will not give a peaceful transfer of power? How will you rule if Trump doesn't offer a peaceful transfer of power? How are you going to rule in the election? If the election comes, this election could very well be up to the Supreme Court. This election could very well be up. They keep saying that as if the Supreme Court's going to just cut everybody out and vote for the whole country. And what they're trying to get at is they want to say that Trump is not going to give his power up, and he's going to lose, and he's going to pretend that he won or stay there. And here's the thing. What is, Brian, I know you know the answer to this. What is the Democrats' MO when it comes to something that they're doing? What is the first thing they do whenever they're doing something? It's the best way to figure out what the left is up to.
Projection.
What does that mean?
Whatever they're saying is what they're really up to, right? Oh, you're a racist. Oh, you're a bigot, right? They are racists and they are bigots. They are up to something with the election. And let's talk about that. A couple of things. Number one, to this day, they've never conceded from the 2016 election. They've tried consistently up until this day to get Trump out of office. They have not accepted the results of the 2016 election, and they are still pushing for the 2020 election to do the exact same tricks. And also, Jason, the other one that we're talking about is
well, you remember Hillary Clinton. We played the clip last week. I believe it was last week, maybe it was the week before. We played the clip in the past where Hillary Clinton said, does anyone know what she said? Joe Biden should not concede under any circumstances. That is the words of Hillary Clinton. That is the words of one of their big dogs, so to speak, talking about he should not succeed under any condition. And then they're coming back, and at this thing, they know that Amy Coney Barrett's going to get the Supreme Court. There is zero chance that she doesn't get confirmed into the Supreme Court because, as the Republicans love to say, and I agree with them in this case, elections have consequences, and we have the majority, and we are going to get her on the Supreme Court. However, they're taking this opportunity. And today was supposed to be an opportunity to listen to hearings from people that opposed and people that were for, and they were supposed to take in hearings. Instead, they show up, and Mr. Blumenthal, Senator Blumenthal says, I'm going to raise a motion that we just shut this whole thing down right now. Now, what does that motion do, guys?
Wow. What the hell?
They know they're going to lose. They can't even get the motion to pass. But what does the motion do? When a motion is granted, what happens? Anyone?
I'm not sure what you're getting at.
Testimony.
Oh, sure.
So they get a whole nother day. They already had 3 days of interviewing her in front of the camera, and it was all about trying to campaign against Trump. It had nothing to do with whether or not we're going to confirm a Supreme Court justice, right? And through this whole 3 days, they keep bringing up Trump isn't going to give up the election. Trump isn't going to give up the election. Projection. And then today they say, oh, we want to have a motion. And they go through 4.5 more hours of Trump isn't going to win the election, or Trump isn't going to give up the election, and you're going to destroy
It's just like a broken record. They have nothing new to say.
No,
I think it's like a vacation. It's like a vacation to be there.
That's what it is. It's a paid vacation because these people have been saying the same thing for 3 days. Does that in our taxpayer money? Is that where that goes? Don't forget taxation because that's a whole nother issue. But
well, the money's one thing, but here's what they're doing: they're setting the American people up to believe that it's Trump when they say they won the election. Now, they're also eliminating me, Ryan, you, everyone conservative off of social media. Why do you think they would do that?
You just want one answer?
I don't care.
I think there's several. There's power in numbers. The more truth that you learn, the more you spread. I mean, I kind of I'm kind of out there about some things, but what part of I've come to some I have more conservative beliefs, and I'm one of those people. I'm like transitioning out of like the more liberal lifestyle into like conservative, more of a conservative thing, just kind of awakening in myself so I can teach my children better. Because not that they're going to be like dumb or whatever, but what part of my mom had assistance for a while, and then I kind of do. It's kind of, I know it's a pattern and it's systemic, and that stuff has to stop. So, but this is, speaking of systemic patterns, like this is what social media is doing. They're just like, oh, you're on this show. I just thought it was funny. Like the day before, I was admin of Mask Free Michigan. There's a few of us, and some people had to go because they were banning and they were blocking some other admins. So it's pretty much two people. And I said something, and I got this message request where I think I said last week, someone basically called me a nigger. They said, why are you blocking people, you dumb nigger? The next day, I shared the link to the Bamboozled show in general on my profile when I still had it, and to the Happy Patriot Survival group, which was my group. And then it must have been a few minutes later, I was gone from Facebook. And people think that was a real person because they actually responded to like a post that someone had. And what part of that could be anybody? What part of that could just be Facebook? And that could have just been their way of saying, we're going to just tear you down emotionally, and then we're going to just ban you off of here altogether like you're not even here.
So this is all very disturbing, but I want to get to like what I think the root might be. If they're going to pretend, because it's getting pretty obvious to me that they're going to have Joe Biden in like a green screen White House in his basement being the president on CNN, Facebook, Twitter, and all the places that the liberals hang out. But guess what? If there's no conservatives on Facebook, then all of Facebook's going to believe that Joe Biden's the president, whether he is or he isn't. And so is Twitter, and so is CNN, so they're going to actually have two countries living in the same exact country, and nobody's going to know who really is the president, and that's what they're trying to lead up to. I'm not saying that that's what is absolutely going to happen, but I'm saying that seems, if I were an evil criminal genius and I was trying to figure out how to steal an election, I would make it look like the other side was going to steal the election, and then talk about it for 3 days on a very, very, very public platform about how the other side was going to steal the election. And then what I would do is steal the election and then cut everybody who would argue with me out of the ability to even have a voice.
Yeah, that's why the media is where it is now. That's what they've been doing. Why would they stop?
For decades, they've been building this. For decades, the media has been becoming what they are now. And now it's completely out in the open. And here's what I'm counting on. And this is what I think they aren't counting on. You guys saw Wolf. He is this guy, and I'm going to play another little clip of this because I think it's important for you to see this, and then I'm going to make my point because I think you guys will want to see this. This is a liberal guy here.
Right up after the commercial. Anybody that shops at JCPenney gets 50% off with a coupon.
Good morning.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Is
Bills in the mail.
still open?
Sunday morning.
Need sound, Jason. Nope, we lost it.
When I was talking to the manager at Big Lots, and I was explaining to them my whole family, like we're mask free because we have certain medical issues. And the longer this all drags on, like it's multiplying our medical issues. The manager said someone didn't have the mask on properly, I think behind the plexiglass, meaning like a staff member. So someone actually called corporate on them. So that's that whole, this, what is that? The polarization. Here you have, people, we all have enough brain to stay home if you don't feel well, or if you start to come down with the cold or whatever and rest. Most people do. Or I think they would put something on and cover their face and just kind of come out and get what they need and go back home. But now we're so stupid. And this is part like back to that whole welfare thing. Like, you're so stupid. You have to be told by the government, you need to cover your face. You need to stay 6 feet apart. Don't you know how to do anything? Blah, 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 blah. Well, this is what's going to happen. And what part of the health department in Michigan are they attempting to find people? Are they attempting to put people in jail because they want to push the same order that was just revoked a week before when the governor did it and it was unconstitutional? So all of a sudden it's not, because one of her boyfriends is running the MDH, MDHHS. I mean, or I'm just paranoid and I don't know what the hell's going on anymore. My birthday was March 15th and I walked in the store and I was like, where's this? Where's this? Where's this? What do people have on? Why are they looking at us like that? What's going on? What just happened? Like, I took a nap and I just fell off the planet and I feel like I'm just in a black hole somewhere.
Crazy how things can change very, very quickly. And that's why we must continuously be watching this. And, while we were sleeping in so many ways, right, the country got swept into this this chasm of communism, if you will, right? And it's a scary thing. I mean, all the things that you've shared tonight, Gala, and that we've seen happening around our country. I mean, this is scary stuff. And to think that, we have the Constitution, that won't happen. It is happening right now. And we need to continue to talk about this and to get this message out there. While, like you said, it sounds good, everything free. I mean, the price tag that comes with free that you pay in your children's spirits, hopes, and dreams, it just in itself is a dark, dark place. Nothing ever will beat individualism, will beat living a life that is on your own terms, that is not under the control of someone else, that is you being able to create whatever that destiny is. And it might be something that is massive and huge, and it might be something that is, what happened with Jason? We got two Jasons. One Jason, right? America is founded on those principles of individualism. They called them unalienable rights granted to us by our Creator. You can't take those away. Now, that spiritual war that we see ourselves in, the Kamala Harrises of the world that are using Joe Biden for political gain, right? And the Gretchen Whitmers that are using tyranny, totalitarian regimes coming down on this very government that was founded, that a year ago you're like, man, we got the Constitution, man, we live free, everything is good. Here we are 12 months later, and we are flipped to another style of government, and people are buying it. The warning signs need to continue to fly. We need to continue to wave the red, white, and blue, saying that our freedoms are not there to be taken away by the government when they feel that we're not smart enough to handle a situation. They are unalienable rights because you don't take them away. Otherwise, you just have permissions. And I'll tell you what, I don't want to wait around for permission to live my life.
Sure don't. Never.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
A man told me, because we work out of town sometimes when a business closes, like we advertise to people like with these huge signs, like go to this business. And this was a couple days ago, and I was talking to a gentleman. He's clearly a Democrat, and I believe he's from the Ann Arbor area. And he said, do you think that the government would allow you to have weapons that would really let you fight with them on equal terms? In so many words, because we were talking about militia and being armed and Second Amendment and different things like that. And he said that, and it really I had to scratch my head. So that
Tulane says we can.
Right.
But I got this little thing queued up, and I think it's important because this is something I have faith in the American people for. And I want to show you somebody I never would think I would have any faith in, but I think this is important. So I'm going to mute myself here. Watch.
Get them, Wolf.
Yep.
From their homes, they can't pay the rent. Many Americans are waiting in food lines for the first time in their lives. Can you look them in the eye, Madam Speaker, and explain why you don't want to accept the president's latest stimulus offer?
Well, because thank you very much, Wolf, and I hope you'll ask the same question of the Republicans about why they don't really want to meet the needs of the American people. But let me say to those people, because all of my colleagues We represent these people. I have for over 30 years represented my constituents. I know what their needs are. I listen to them, and their needs are not addressed in the president's proposal. So when you say to me, why don't you accept theirs? Why don't they accept ours? Our legislation is there to do three things primarily: to honor our workers, honor our heroes, our healthcare workers, our police and fire, first responders, our teachers, our transportation, sanitation, food workers, the people who make our lives work. We couldn't be doing what we're doing without them. Many of them have risked their lives so that to save lives, and now they will lose their jobs because
but they really
let the states go bankrupt.
Excuse me for
let
interrupting,
the states go bankrupt.
Madam Speaker, but they really need the money right now, and even members of
I understand
your own,
that, but
but even members of your own caucus, even members of your.
I think that's enough, but we just saw somebody who would always, forever back Nancy Pelosi. For decades, this guy has backed Nancy Pelosi, and he's like going, hey, wait a minute, Nancy, you're telling me that you're going to let people be hungry? Because this is the situation, by the way, that this whole interview is about. For those of you who are watching who don't know, Nancy has filibustered the stimulus package. Trump and other Democrats and the Congress has come together and put together a package to get some money out there and end the food lines and the bread lines that are going on in New York City and in different places like that. And they have done that. And now Nancy Pelosi's filibustering it. And then what they're doing is in the Senate or in the Supreme Court confirmation hearing, they're actually saying that the Republicans aren't passing a bill and trying to put the word out there that Republicans aren't passing a bill, when in reality, here you see a super left-wing reporter who's always supported Nancy Pelosi saying, wait a minute, I don't.
Come back, Jason.
And this is where she starts to scold him and tell him that he needs to, like, basically talking to him like an employee. If you go watch the rest of it yourself, I'm not going to wake you sit there and watch it all choppy on here, but watch this interview. It's really easy. Just type in Nancy Pelosi meltdown and it'll bring you right to it.
So you're telling me that Pelosi and the Democrats, just with like every other situation that comes out of their mouth, have absolutely bamboozled the American people into believing a whole bunch of nonsense that is projection coming out of their mouth. And if you just go take a quick look through San Francisco, even if it's on a YouTube video, that's how they treat their people. Keep voting for these liberal Democrats. Communism is going to continue to get shoved down your throats. And pretty soon you get to live on a tent on the street next to your own feces with a pile of needles right by you too.
Gal, do you remember this?
Oh my God, tell me about it. That's my life. That's
Look
my
at
life.
Look at this. This.
That's right now.
New York.
Holy crap.
Really?
Look at.
They got the masks on.
Oh,
Russia,
God.
Russia, New York. Russia, New York.
You see the difference? People, do you see the difference? That's what's going to happen. I have a feeling Americans don't even know their own rights here.
They don't. That's why it's gotten along as far as
you grew up in this country, in this amazing, beautiful country. You grew up free, and you don't even know your own rights. I had to learn all over again what I can do, what I'm allowed to do, not just allowed, how I can live my life. But Americans, and to see how Americans giving up their rights just voluntarily.
They have been
bamboozled.
Oh,
I served to this country in the military. I swore to protect this country and Constitution, and I'm gonna do that until my last blood drop.
Yes. All right. Yes.
Wow.
I love your patriotism. I love your love for our country.
And guys, this is what we're seeing, across the board, is these food lines and these different things. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Hear you perfect.
There's something up with this screen. Whenever I try to share it, it makes my computer go wonky. But anyway, those food lines, the things that you're seeing, those are more than just little hiccups in our society. Those are the key indicators that we are headed in a dangerous direction. You know, these are the key indicators that our company, or our country, I'm sorry, is going in a direction that is not going to. Our children will be standing in line for bread. Our children will be sitting 6 feet apart with a mask on. They won't know imagine, Ryan and I talked about this yesterday, Nikki, and you have kids too, and I don't know, Gal, if you have kids, but I have kids that are in high school, a couple of them. And if you're in high school, or I got a daughter who's single and just finishing high school too, and if you were that age, how do you date? How do you have the social American social experience that you need in order to decide what you're going to do with your life? This is destructive. This is more than just a mask. This is destructive. This is going to make people unable to socialize properly. This is going to make people struggle to get married and find the right person. Life plans are on hold. Like Nikki said, she wanted to go study this or study that. Life plans are on hold for people. People that are in certain industries can't even do their work. Restaurant owners can only make a third of their income. This is unsustainable, and they are destroying America purposely. And if we let them, it is our fault, because we, the people of the United States of America.
We the people, and it's more of us than them. More.
There's 600,000 of them, and 330 million of us.
330 million of us. Wow.
So Jason, I shared with you last night too. There's only two possible outcomes that come out of this, right? When we talk about this college, high school age generation that is experiencing all of these things, right? One of two things is going to happen, and we need to continue to share this message as patriots of this country, so that the second outcome is the outcome that happens. The first outcome is that they just fall into communism, right? They just go with it, right? And then later in life, they're going to see the results of that bad decision, and they're going to see this country just deflated and melt into the nothingness that you find in these other communist countries. Or it's going to, in some way, somehow, it's going to inspire them to understand in real time from experience, right? This is experiences. This is not a book that these people are reading. It's not a movie they watch. They are actually living it. We are actually living it. So they might, at some point, whether it's 6 months, a year, 2, 4 years from now, they might say, hey, that was bad. And they understand what the Constitution now grants them as far as those unalienable rights. And they start to say how they saw the freedom slip away, but it was held on long enough. But they remember what that was like. And so they use that to kind of boost up that experience of negativity, of communism, of oppression, to say, you know what? Now my passion for it is even stronger to reach for freedom and to secure the constitutional rights, because I lived through a time where we almost lost it in America. So those millions of people are seeing right now with their own eyes, and they get to make one of two choices. Either they just give in to communism and it just happens and they accept it and the country goes to, you know what? Or that inspires them. And as people like us, guys, everybody that's on the show and the people that are watching the show and the people you're sharing it with, as patriots, we cannot stop. We cannot give up. Like Gayla said, this is where we need to talk about our rights, where we need to make sure it's known what the Constitution stands for, what rights are granted from our Creator in order to protect for the next generation the freedom that we so love, and the reason why you moved here from Russia and the things you've experienced. And so I could keep going on about it because I get fired up about this stuff, but you guys did it. Let's let number 2 be the scenario, not number 1.
We were working another job at Art Van, And we were going there, and pretty much there might have been a couple. There's one guy I remember. I think he was like up in higher management. He didn't have his face covered. We had a nice conversation one day. I saw a young man, because my children and I, we all work together, and we would come in. We did this Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, so we'd come in, and I noticed this one young man. He would kind of look at us, and then because it lasted a few weeks, and then as time went on, I noticed, because he had a mask on like everybody else that worked there, and as time went on, I noticed he would kind of move it down until the point where I just saw him not even wear it anymore. So sometimes you don't think you're making an impact, or you're so emotionally off just for the fact that you feel like a criminal in your own country where you haven't done anything to anyone. You don't notice these things, but you just have to keep pushing. You may be inspiring someone and not even know. I called another manager from Kroger earlier, and this is what I said. I said, "Hi, can I continue to shop in your store with my family?" And she was like, "I'm sorry, what?" And I said, "Well, yeah, I'm just wondering because we're one of the families that come in, and we can't do the mask thing." And long story short, she said, I would never tell you that you can't shop in my store. Of course you can shop here." Now, that's the first time I've even been told, I've heard it said like that. Some people are like, "Oh, yeah, sure." Usually they want to offer you curbside or I've heard all types of things. But you just have to keep going. And you see me, sometimes I sleep, sometimes I get up at whatever time. I'm doing what I can to maintain balance. But what part of my children, we're doing a church program, because this is the same skilled trades, same church they did the skilled trades program in July. So they just we went there yesterday. So we're starting to like do that now. And they already know my stance on the mask. They don't wear them. We're not gonna, we're just not gonna do it. And some children had that on. And that is so heartbreaking, because here's the parents that are just like, just go ahead, be comfortable with it. It's going to get cold out. We have freaking ski masks when it gets really cold. We're in Michigan. We have parkas, we have feathers, we have all these things we can put on when it gets cold. And I know that's part of how they're going to manipulate their kids to keep doing it. Some of y'all saw the video of a girl, I think she was like 2. They had put that on her face. She was like, she has more sense than most of these people. Sometimes it's just a phone call. You can be very influential. Like I have to just stay calm sometimes because I don't know the response I'm going to get. But I was crying before I called these people, because I'm like, if I can't go in the store, how am I going to feed my family? I can grow food, but it's Michigan. It's October. I can't grow anything. I don't have greenhouses. I can't grow anything anymore. So I'm at the mercy of these people to allow me to go in their store.
I just want to know, Jason, if it was for your safety, I just want to tell the people, if it was for your safety, it would never been forced on you.
Boom.
It would be recommended.
Yeah, we've had this thing with our show and with our rallies that we've said since the beginning. Freedom comes before safety. It always has, because if you're not willing to risk your safety for your freedom, you will not have your freedom anymore. And that's just a fact. If you're not willing, it's just like people say, well, if somebody's not willing to fight for freedom, then freedom will not be had, because the other side will just take it. You have to be willing to fight. You have to be willing to say, I'm not going to do these things anymore. I'm not going to allow them to push me around. We do have to wrap the show up here fairly quickly. So I don't know what you guys have left. You want to take it out? But for me, I just want to remind everybody, October 24th, coming to a city near you. There's still time to get you in a city. If there's not one near you, get to one. We're going to be just blowing it up around the country. The news I got today, Nikki, you weren't on at the beginning. We've got people saying 5,000 are coming here, 3,000 over there.
Hey, Patriots!
And it's totally up to you. And we can make a real statement. And one thing I will say I'm going to be doing is praying like crazy until the day of this event. I'm going to pray. I encourage all of you to pray because that is the first step, is getting people out there. This show, we talk about rights. We talk about the Constitution. A lot of times we dig right into the actual text and we go through things. When we do that, we are doing that because people are waking up, and we want people to see the reality of what's going on in the world and how they can be a big part of it. That's what I got, you guys. Awesome show. You guys take it out. Whoever wants to take it out.
Don't be bamboozled, people. Don't be bamboozled. All right, Nikki, what you got?
We were planning on having a march in Flint, and then due to losing the 1,000 friends I had on Facebook and then I had an older phone that died, so I lost probably like 60 phone numbers. I lost a lot of my contacts. And so Ryan and I, we were talking the other day, and there's some things going on in Allendale. And I was like, well, hey, why don't we just all pack up in Allendale and see what we can get going on October 24th at 3 p.m. Maybe we can tailgate before, whatever. But I would just love to meet some of the people that supposedly look like me that clearly don't think like me. And I'm talking about BLM. And I'm talking about Antifa. And I have little words for them, but I'm going to keep it clean. I probably said damn a couple times on the show. I don't need to cuss anymore. But I just love you all. Keep on keeping on, and keep praying, keep your heads up, keep fighting. And too many people did too much for this soil to still stand here. And I'm not going anywhere without a fight. I keep telling people they want to come for my children, they got to go through me. So, and good luck with that, because I'm kind of a badass.
Yes. All right, guys. Awesome job. I will talk to you guys later. Those of you watching, make it a great night. We love you all.
Love you all.